There's a couple things also about Windows 7. One of the things is called MinWin, which is a minimal version of the Windows kernel. That could be, may not be part of what Windows 7 is going to have, but there's a lot of arguments being saying that MinWin may very well probably making it up in there. But here's the thing. Windows 7 and Windows in general is becoming more and more componentized. And for example, in Windows 7, what was being told is that like certain features that ship with Vista, ship with XP, won't be included. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about things like Movie Maker is being taken out, Instant Messenger is being taken out, some of the photo tools, that sort of thing. Microsoft's removing these, and they're, like I said, everything's becoming more in a component version of Windows. That makes it easier to upgrade Windows. That makes it easier to get newer versions of some of these applications than we have right now. So it's possible that the whole kernel thing, what kind of, eventually with the components that Microsoft can kind of swap around when they need to, that may be something that becomes obsolete at some point. So keep that in mind. Parallel processing is something that is being discussed right now. So they're talking about the need for parallel processing. They're going to keep the app and drive compatibility between Vista and version 7. But the Windows 32 programming model is not really going to be suitable for parallel processing. New version of .NET, we'll probably see version 4.0 of .NET. So I think we'll see that, and probably some new libraries for that as well. What about virtualization? Yeah, I think that we're going to see some form of Hyper-V included in, it could be the Vista Business Edition or Windows 7. One of the things I pray that Microsoft does is reduces the number of versions of Windows 7 down from what they've got with Vista. In my mind, there should only be two versions: an ultimate version and the server version, which is Windows Server 2008. That's it. Just like Apple with OS X, you either have OS X, which gives you everything, or you get the server version, and that's what it's meant for. To have, Home Basic, Home Premium, Business, Ultimate. To me, you just pay. You get Vista, or you get Windows 7. You get this Windows Server 2008. That's it. That's what I hope for. Now, there may very well be just a Home Premium version, a Business version, and then the server version. So, but I think it will include a hypervisor very similar to Hyper-V, and so it may very well help small businesses virtualize desktops. That's going to cut down on spending money when you have things happen on the machine. It could make recovery a lot easier to do. So yeah, I kind of see that virtualization will be built in. Some version of Hyper-V will be built in there. Probably it'll be able to handle background tasks a little bit better. Applications, Microsoft's talking about context-aware application with a sensors facility. So kind of a location sensor can tell you kind of, what is compatible, and if your PC is compatible and applications, are they acting accordingly. User account control. Love it or hate it. I personally despise it. I turn it off on my machine, but Microsoft is pledging to make it a lot better experience. So I really hope so. And finally, on another note, the Vista sidebar. On my Mac, I love the widgets, but they're out of my face until I want to see them. I don't necessarily need to see temperature, my CPU, or the weather, or the time, all that in my face when I want to use it. I just hit the old F12 key. There they are. Tap it again. They're gone. That's been one of my beefs about the Windows sidebar. Not to mention, I consider it a serious resource hog, by the way. And I don't know if other people out there has had this problem, but my sidebar tends to get out of control and begin grabbing more and more CPU utilization. And I think that's probably because of the gadgets more than the sidebar itself. But I've seen 2 and 3 instances of sidebar. I mean, I've had a lot of problems with sidebars. Microsoft, I believe, is addressing that. Will probably be a lot closer to how OS X does things, that you'll still be able to use your gadgets, but you won't necessarily have the sidebar going in. Boy, that would be really, really good. What Microsoft is really saying, I think, at the end of the day, is that they want to improve. We used to call it the out-of-the-box experience, and now it's they're going to call it the day one experience. They're really going to try to ramp that up and make the installation, the upgrade of Vista or XP to version 7 a lot better experience. And I think they're working really hard on that. The new user interface, it's not really going to be more radically different than Vista. I mean, you might as well, if you don't like the user interface with Vista, I mean, that's the direction Microsoft's going. The ribbon interface is going to be built into different components like Windows Explorer. You know, they're just going to be tweaking this and refining it and making things maybe a tad bit more easier to use, but love it or leave it. I mean, at some point, I mean, this is what's happening with version 7, but I think they're going to make the overall experience and make different functions easier to find and make, you know, more sense. One of the things I always said about Vista is that Microsoft is, I think there's some change there for change's sake only. Now, an example of that in Vista, you have in the control panel, add, remove programs. In Vista, that was renamed to programs and features, something like that. And it's essentially the same place that you expect this. So when you have somebody just upgraded, now they're looking around for add and remove programs, can't find it, what happened to it, then they have to discover that. So I'm hoping that that's just part of the kind of the nonsense that Microsoft did. You know, multi-touch is coming, you're going to have it. You know, if you like the Apple iPhone, you know, I think Microsoft wants to sell more tablet PCs, all that. Again, I'm not a big fan of putting my grubby fingers all over my nice monitor. You know, I don't really know about that. I don't necessarily see the practicality of multi-touch in a, you know, in a business scenario when you're doing spreadsheets, word processing, and that sort of thing. I can see it more in a tablet type PC device as that's coming. But as far as the bundled applications are concerned, you know, Microsoft is going to be pulling that out of there. And they're saying it's going to be a lot easier to update Windows Movie Maker, Live Mail, you know, which Windows Live Mail is the replacement for Outlook Express. It now talks with the Windows Calendar, which is part of Vista. So gives you more of kind of an Outlook-ish type thing, you know. Very nicely done, by the way. We're going to talk about Windows Live Wave 3 in just a minute. Again, we talked about the new shell with the ribbon interfaces all coming in there. The desktop, the new Windows Explorer, new Explorer toolbars, which is there is rejection of task-specific coloring. And attempt to put the focus on the content and not the containers. So these are some of the things that's coming down the road with Windows 7. And as this thing progresses, and as we see more of it, if you want kind of a precursor and kind of get a good eyeball on what it's going to look like, take a look at some of the new Windows Live applications, and you're going to get a feel for what Windows 7 is going to look like.